like this. Can I hear you testify? Yes. Anjagara. Yazukira mubafu ulirulimi watuleti Yesu. Are you ready for revival, Uganda? Are you sure you're ready? Revival is here. And revival starts in the message. Praise the Lord. Can I repeat that? Revival starts in the message. Because it's the message that creates a move. And revival is here. Somebody tell your neighbor, foundations. Neither the grace nor the law. You will not understand me today because today I'm just going to introduce. But by the time I am done, you will understand. One of the things I've been asking God for the previous 5 years has been the message of our times. I've been bargaining with God. I've been bargaining with God to know what He wants us to minister in our times. I'm a man of grace, but I found God in the Lord. And for 5 years, it created an imbalance in me. And I knew all answers are here. When I asked of the Lord what He wants our generation to know, He told me, you are the last, so you must go back to the first. Therefore, you must go back to the foundations. And He has taught me about the foundations. Praise the Lord. This message is going to be a little tight. So some of you need to be strong. And it's going to be hot from the beginning to the end. Kina palia tuskele balia. Ella kuzi la pakonia. Politics and the church can't coexist. When a husband leaves his house, the immediate dominator or the immediate ruler of that house is the wife. When Christ left his home, the cosmos, the immediate ruler is not a Christian. The immediate ruler is the wife of Jesus, which is his bride, which is the church. The church cannot function under politics. Yet politics can only function under the church. There are two powers. When the church is put under politics, then it can never shine in the magnitude that it should shine. It means that if we are to call for revival, we must go back to the eons of God and claim our position as the bride of Jesus. Right now in Uganda, we have a decayed system called the church. We don't have a bride of Jesus. We have a decayed system. And I know what I'm talking about. We have a decayed system called the church. By the time we are done with foundations, even today's service, you will know what I mean by that statement. In the early church, we had men called the Pharisees, like we do have now, and I'm going to talk about them. We had the Sadducees, like we do have now, and I'm going to talk about them. They are looking for me, but I'm going to talk about them. We had the teachers of the law, and I'm also going to talk about them. Now, there is something that if the church doesn't rise is coming. The tax collectors. They are sitting, they are planning. And soon church is going to see tax collectors. Not many years from now. So I am also going to talk about the tax collectors. Because I have been taken to their dwelling and I know what they are planning. Church has become too cold that it now qualifies to be a business. And before you know, you're going to hear. You see ground rent, simani rent. You're renting a house, then you have to, it's called rent or tax rent or rent tax. I don't know. Where you have rentals and you have to pay tax. Very soon you're going to hear church tax. Tax collectors are coming. Shuka Napalia. May the Lord give you understanding. The biggest persecution of the first revival from the existence of the Christ up to now was not politics. It was the Pharisees, there were the Sadducees, there were tax collectors. They killed men by imprisonment. Their killing was by treason. Men were stoned to death. Men were slaughtered. And it's not different from our church today, because men are still killed. But the only most dangerous thing is that men are killed within. Be careful of men who want to be leaders of leaders. Those big groups say, I am the president of all born again fellowship in what? I am the president of gospel artists. That kind of nonsense, be careful. Chances are high there is a hidden agenda. Men that are in those groups may not know. But one time they will have to compromise with the system. And they will have to sell the church. When Jesus moved into his father's temple, the temple had turned out to be a trading center. Anything that was traded in the temple, including prostitutes. But it was still his father's house. The men of old may not wake up. But God has given us a grace to wake up from the sleep and function, because our fathers have gone blind. They are looking for me. Be careful. When a man claims that he is the president of there is only one form of unity the Bible calls for. Not the unity of them that play pianos and pray on Sunday. even witch doctors make their chants on Sundays. So let us put them under NAFBAC. The Bible speaks about one unity, the unity of faith. Until we come to the unity of faith, not collecting all born agains and putting them under people's armpits. They will show you titles. Now this is a reverend. Now this is a bishop. When you ask them their achievements, they will tell you, we speak to the president. That's true, they speak to the president. They influence the army, and that's true, they influence the army. But kingdom business has nothing to do with politics. Kingdom business, according to Matthew chapter 7, verse 16, they shall know them by their fruits. We must see crusades, international crusades, to know that they are living men. Let them show us how many dead have come back to life. Even men back in Mayuge, in Arua, are doing better things than your so-called presidents. Praise the Lord. When it comes to God, results are gauged on souls, not how much money. Surely, if God was a God of material, these men have all the buildings. They have the greatest cars. They have literally embezzled all the money of the church, because the state has sometimes wanted to give unto the church. Baba wanga bilino kutuka egulu bikoma ku Bombo Road. Shila kuna pili yodosha. I wish I put on my jacket. Kibala dukatila. Hikatila. Praise the Lord. They have embezzled billions. Every time you see them entering a certain place, come up with an envelope. And that envelope has become like a zip on their mouths. They cannot speak what is wrong. The weakness, mark me right, the weakness of the members of the church comes from the leaders of the members of the church. There is no weakness you see behind there that doesn't come from your leader. But also the weakness of the leaders comes from the leaders of the leaders. May the Lord give you understanding. The weakness of the leaders also comes from the leaders. Be careful of the men that are claiming to be presidents of the faith. We have only one master who went at the cross, died, and now risen, seated at the right hand of the Father. No other man. If we are to join any group as a ministry, it will be because of the reconciliation in faith.